Those people who've been watching me for a while will know that I've got it in for Liz Truss. Who hasn't? But I would see a lot of Liz Truss's problems as going back to Theresa May. And Theresa May, I think, is the bigger of the two problems. Theresa May, not for her corn fetish, but for her hostile environment and for the Modern Slavery Act of 2015. Both of these issues were misconstrued and ill thought out. The modern slavery issue is something that people have taken advantage of, and indeed it's completely out of hand. It's one reason why it's so difficult to distinguish between those people who are genuine asylum seekers and those people who maybe are playing the system. Now, the hostile environment makes it increasingly difficult to cut through anything. So the most earnest and the most needy asylum seekers and the most useful students, for example, are all falling foul of the hostile environment and the go slow of the Home Office, which is the way it manifests, particularly at the moment. Now, in 1999, if we go back, 1999, the Kosovo War came to an end. And the Albanian minority in Kosovo was, a lot of it was thrown out of the country and made its way gradually across to the Republic of Albania. And there they were welcomed in Tirana, but they found it very difficult adjusting to a new life. And ethnic Albanians, therefore, had the experience of being hounded out of their homes by Serbs for no other reason than the fact that they were Albanian. It's the same charge made by Braverman when she stood at the dispatch box in the Palace of Westminster in the House of Commons and talked about an invasion. The same charge. And she has never apologised. There are many reasons why people have left Albania and come to the UK. There is, of course, criminality. Braverman is picking up a sort of chant which she heard first in France, probably. There's a really good article in Le Parisien in May 2020, which talks about France's experience of the perfectly ordered Albanian mafia, which ran, it said, about 40% of Austrian drugs, as well as networks of prostitution throughout the south of France. At the time, there was speculation that it was running about 70% of heroin across Europe itself. So there's no doubt there is a criminal element, but that cannot be everything. Many people, particularly coming over from Kosovo, came over to a country which was ill-prepared for that influx. A poor economy, emerging social and political structures, high-level corruption, prejudice, particularly against people who may be gay. And leaving by boat for a better life is not a choice. It's something that people are driven to. Maybe they feel it's a necessity. Nobody wants to risk their life travelling by boat across a very dangerous strip of water, or indeed travelling so far by stealth from Albania to the UK. One of the reasons people may feel that they would be more welcomed in the UK is because of the huge market in English as a foreign language. This is the language they've been taught. So if we want to promote English as a foreign language, then we need to be ready for the consequences of that. It used to be French, now it's English. And we've made a lot of money out of that. But I was in Greece for many years, and I witnessed at first hand the brutality of the Greek response to the Albanian exodus, particularly during the transition from the period of Enver Hoxha to the new democracy and the difficulties that came with it. For example, the Otranto scandal. And when I was, I think the second time I lived in Greece, I remember I had my video player and television stolen, and the assumption was by the policeman who came to investigate that this was a crime committed by the Albanos, the criminal, who couldn't be identified. But we knew what his nationality was. We knew his gender as well, of course. So Braverman was picking up a Greek tray. And she was picking up, at the same time, the idea of the Greek concept of pushback. Throw the migrants back into the water, push them back. Heavily criticised by the United Nations in Greece, and it's been going on for over 20 years. And she might just as well have built her own crumbling acropolis on the cliffs of Dover. Oh, but then, of course, I suppose she has. She would call it the Palace of Westminster. It's still crumbling. But being Albanian isn't a choice. It's a nationality and a cultural identity. Being a racist, in contrast, and stirring up xenophobia, that is a choice. Being a national politician, being a demagogue, being a nationalist, being a Brexiteer, that is a choice. Repeating other people's mad slogans, that is a choice. That is a decision. The rhetoric of invasion, talking about that, is a choice, a decision. Of storming a nation with criminality, that's a choice. And it's old hat. It's tiresome. As the trolls say, are there not criminals in the UK? Yeah, there are. But nationality is not a criminal offence. And many British criminals themselves are victims of social and cyclical events over which they have no control. Now, you could turn round and you could say that the Albanian problem was created in 2010 when Europe gave Albanians the freedom of movement across Europe. I would say it goes back a little bit further, and it goes back to the Kosovo invasion and the experience of people feeling that there was a genocide, feeling that there was an attack on them because of their nationality. And that is hard to recover from. If we wish to punish people because they are criminals, then let's do so. But to punish people because of their nationality is abhorrent, and Suella Braverman, of all people, should know better. Suella Braverman should be apologising. She hasn't. She feels she's right. She feels she's got the nation behind her. Well, I don't think she has. I think what she's got behind her is a bigoted and small-minded, petty and vindictive group of right-wingers. And maybe other people hopping on for a ride. But it needs to change. She needs to apologise, and we need to think of another way of dealing with the problem. Because actually, we don't want people to be claiming asylum falsely. But equally, we don't want to treat people with xenophobia, with racism, with disrespect.